I will say to you tonight that what I'm going to share with you has been almost 35 years ago. And I've not been able to get it off the back of my eyelids. And in many respects, I don't want to, because it defines more than any other single experience in my life my passion for evangelism and my passion for the calling of God upon my life. But it is also a traumatic scene, and it's something that in some other ways I wish I could forget. I'd taken a short-term team of missionaries to Haiti, and I was an itinerant evangelist then, and it was in the early part of my years in ministry, and we'd gone down to conduct medical and dental clinics in what is, if not the poorest, certainly the spiritually darkest place in our hemisphere. One morning, we had left our mission house and were driving out along the national highway out of Port-au-Prince to a village you may have heard of called Léogâne. Now, if you know about Léogâne, if for no other reason, you may recognize the name from the reports of the terrible earthquake that hit Haiti in 2010. The town of Léogâne was the epicenter of that earthquake. And the church there, St. Rose of Lima Church and School, which was the epicenter of the epicenter. If you remember seeing those horrible reports and visual images of how the ground opened up and swallowed that church and that school and 300 school children with it. Those same beautiful children that I mentioned last night. There's only been one other time in my life that I've been in a place and thought I didn't care if I ever got home. And it was one day in Haiti as those little children would rock their heads back, close their eyes, and with their big bright smiles would sing, "Mam pap jamblier jutsa du fait tomber," in Creole. And we were on our way to St. Rose of Lima School that morning. This is before 2010, obviously. It was where we'd set up many of our clinics, that very place. And as we were making our way into the village of Léogâne, the sun was coming up and it was just getting light, and we were able to see over on the side of the road. Those of us who were on that particular side, the right-hand side of our van as we traveled, were able to see this man sitting along the side of the road with his legs crossed, and he was obviously in the final stages of starvation. Now, that is not an unusual sight to see, unfortunately, in a place like Haiti and all around the world, many places. There are telltale signs. The body becomes wasted, emaciated, skin over bones. The belly becomes bloated, distended. The hair begins to turn a metallic orange color and falls out in patches. But as we got even closer to this man, what we saw was that in his lap, he cradled the carcass of a dog. Undoubtedly had been hit by a motorist, and in his desperation to fill the emptiness of his belly, he had ripped into the body of that dog and was pulling what little flesh was left off the dog's bones and stuffing it into his mouth. Now you can understand why I can't get rid of that image. Everything you might imagine that one would encounter, all the feelings, all the emotions, physical responses like nausea, all of it. But as we went on through that day, and particularly as we got back to our mission house that night and began to reflect on the events of the day, it's all anyone wanted to talk about was what we had seen that morning. And it became very obvious to me that what we saw was a symbol, a metaphor. It was a visual image of what you and I come in contact with every single day of our lives. And far too often we don't recognize it. Or if we do, for whatever reason, we ignore it. This was a man who was dying of starvation, probably in the last few days of his life. And yet, even if he hadn't been starving, the diseased, putrid flesh of that dead dog would have killed a healthy person. And there are people all over the world, and there are people all over Dothan, Alabama, who are starving for the bread of life. John 6:35, Jesus said, I am the bread of life, and he who eats of me will never be hungry again. The tense of that verb means continually feeding on him. Not just a one-time experience, but those who feed on me will never be hungry.